Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slow Blink Anime Podcast. My name is Phil.
And I'm Candace.
And today we're going to be talking about the new My Hero Academia movie, Heroes Rising. And we got a few people with us as special guests. We got my relative Nicky, and his his girlfriend Alondra. And then we got my friend Ryan here.
Who is he?
He's also our relative. Yeah. All right. But yeah, we just got done seeing the movie. We saw it. It's Friday night right now, the night of the recording. And we all were in the same viewing. And we all saw those same horrible kids at the front. Yeah, but today we're going to be talking about the movie. And we're going to be giving our thoughts and like a review. And kind of how we felt about the whole thing. And what we liked, what we didn't like. And some parts that were really surprising. We just want to make a few comments about it. So just a quick summary of it. It's the class 1A. They got sent to an island for their hero training. It's part of their the training for the I can't remember what it's called. They already got the license, so it's like the next step in that. Mm-hmm. So they're sent to this island that's Nabu Island. Nabu. And they're just pretty much gonna be stationed there because the one hero that they had at the island retired. And they're just supposed to be there until they get another replacement hero to help out there on the island. So, and that's pretty much the gist of the story. And then it's they meet this kid, and that kid ends up having a quirk that the villain of the movie wants to take from him.
Okay. All right. So, what's y'all's initial expectations before seeing the movie?
Yeah. Wait, had any of y'all seen anything about the movie?
That's what I was just about to say.
I had no idea what we were gonna.
Yeah. So all of us went in there blind to viewing.
Okay, so what do y'all think before seeing the movie? Like, what's your expectations? Like, do you think it's gonna be a good one? Expect? Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be good.
Short answer. Nice.
I was really excited.
Based on how long it was, I figured that there was gonna be a lot of stuff in it. So like a lot of action, a lot of, I guess more of the characters that we hadn't really seen a lot of in the show. They played a bigger part in the movie, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know anything.
That's good.
I don't know anything.
Ryan?
I was interested to see how they were going to set up the story, mostly because since most of like the anime movies don't affect the series that's going on, I was kind of interested to see how they were going to like remove it from like the
actual canon of the series,
and from the city that it happens in. So. When at the beginning of the movie, when it said that they were being sent to an island, I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
That answers it.
See,
is it canon, the stuff, the movie?
I don't think any of the. I think the
except for the. I feel like some of the like the Hawk, but I feel like because he shows up in the openings or endings of the series anime, and so I feel like he's gonna show up sometime in the series.
Yeah, because you watched the first movie, right?
Yes.
Was that character Hawks in the first movie?
Not that I remember. No.
Okay. So that was like a brand new character for all of us because all of us are anime only at this point. So that was our first introduction to that character. It's the one that he's got blonde hair and he has red wings.
The red wings is the main. Yeah.
So that was a character that Candace was referring to. But yeah, that was one major thing that was kind of I'm not sure where this movie took place in the actual story because I felt like it was even after this arc that we're watching right now.
Yeah, even further than where it is.
Like after the arc.
He already, Deku already has the technology for the new, not the new core.
Because he used it efficiently.
Yeah, he was.
Because I know in the last two episodes, was it the two episodes ago?
I think it was the most recent episode.
He was learning to do it, or he had the idea to do it. Now he's just doing it like at will.
Yeah,
and like y'all said,
the little extra
the gear for it, support.
So I don't know, but that's what I was wondering too. Because when we started doing it, I'm like, okay, it's comfort.
So did we all overall like the whole movie?
Oh,
I did.
Everybody,
definitely.
Pretty good.
And I love it.
I thought it was really good.
Second half of the movie.
The whole second half is amazing. But
So who cried in this movie? Raise y'all's hand.
It's the guy beside me. I was holding it because I'm like, I know Ken's gonna look at me.
I was gonna hold it.
I heard somebody.
There's too many people.
I was like, somebody's sniffling beside me, and then I looked to my left and I was like, Nicky's tearing up.
I was crying hard.
I got something in my eye.
For real.
And I just let it go after y'all saw it. I was good. Because the guy beside me was already looking at me.
So beginning of the movie, what was happening?
Yeah, they were all on the island. They were just helping out the community.
So nothing was going on. There were no villains on the island.
Yeah.
They were just helping. It's a whole bunch of like older people. It's almost like a place for them to go to retire.
Yeah.
So just a whole bunch of older people, and they were just helping them out like daily things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like lost wallet. Somebody helped carry this grandma or something.
Carry the grandma. Yeah, it was just real basic, simple, like everyday type of task they were doing. It wasn't really strenuous or anything, but it was tiring for them. And I did like how they, I guess for people who hadn't seen the anime, they kind of introduced every single character, and they were showing the quirks of each person, like how they were using it.
And it was their personalities.
Yeah, and the personalities too.
Yeah.
So I liked how they did that. They didn't just like explain it right from the beginning. They kind of showed it to us, which I enjoy.
Okay, so we get introduced to the dad of the two kids. What was he doing? Was that
I
at the
don't know.
beginning?
What was he doing?
He was just driving that car.
It seems like I thought at first he's like some kind of cop that's patrolling or whatever, but I guess not.
Oh, hang on. There's spoilers in this review.
By the way.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that. There's spoilers for the whole movie. All right, go ahead.
Okay, well, anyway, the dad of the two kids, two kids that are going to influence the whole movie. So, driving around, and we see this kind of introduction on the main bad guys that we're going to see in the entire movie. Mm-hmm. And so we see 4 of them.
Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what were they trying to do to the dad?
Well, they were trying to take his quirk from him, but it showed us while he was doing it. Yeah. The main bad guy, his name is Nine, and y'all saw this part, so I didn't want to explain his quirk.
Yeah, so basically his quirk is. So anyway, because somebody went to the freaking restroom in the middle of the movie, like
I was so confused.
Anyway.
And then there was the guy beside you left too. So like
he left too.
Well, didn't he?
I don't care about people that leave in.
But I thought it was you at first. I was like, why'd you leave twice? Because it was dark in there.
Dude, my stomach was hurting during that movie. He was hurting so bad. And it was the fight where was it Bakugo and Deku were fighting Nine for the first time.
No.
When they were losing.
Yeah.
And I was holding it in. And it was hurting since Ida was carrying that old lady on her back. That's how long it was hurting.
You didn't go before?
Yeah, well, like at work I did.
Oh.
That was me on Monday.
Yeah.
No.
It was in pain.
Tuesday.
I thought I was going to shit myself.
That was me. I went at work too, twice.
Yeah.
With the stomach problem.
Yeah.
That was Wednesday. That was the day you were sick.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this right now?
Yeah, that was the fastest dump I ever took.
You didn't go get popcorn. You didn't have the popcorn. That was my first thought.
Okay, so anyway, but basically these bad guys, their main goal is they're looking, well, I guess prior to this, they have already acquired 7, or they already stole 7 quirks from other people. Because the way Nine's quirk works is that he steals 8, but he can use 9. Yeah, and so the 8 other quirks are stolen, and then 1 is his own quirk.
What does that mean, though?
What do you mean?
So basically, he's like a version of
All for One.
All for One, where he steals a.
So was his quirk a stealing quirk?
That's what I was confused about.
I
Because they were
don't
talking.
think
No,
so.
It wasn't.
No, that was given to him in the experiment.
Yeah, it was an experiment. Yeah.
Because they were like, you're compatible with this, but I was confused about.
Was it Shigaraki?
It was the doctor that works with Shigaraki.
Because that little kid was like, Eggman.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think the movie ever really said what his original quirk was.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It was just mentioned that he steals quirk and then he uses 9 quirks in total, including his own quirk.
So did he have 8 quirks?
Stolen quirks, and then the 9th one is his own quirk.
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
So I guess.
talk slow.
Okay, so anyway, so he tries to get this man's quirk, And at first, we all thought the quirk was thunder, or lightning.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not thunder,
Yeah.
lightning.
Because he celebrates with a lightning.
Because as soon as he got the quirk, there's lightning everywhere.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
I was
He's
like,
struck down in like several different parts of the city.
Like the whole city.
And I was like, what? That's perfect for a hero. Like, what the heck?
Yeah,
The
what's he
little
doing
boy-
driving a truck with that quirk?
It's like the little boy. It's like, it's not good for hero work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. And then, because I went
Yeah.
the whole movie thinking the lightning was his thing.
Yeah. So
and then we figured that he was the father of the two main kids,
that are on
just
the
because he was watching a video of the kids, like
at the time they attacked him.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like a heartwarming.
Yeah, so I did see
Video.
this part where he did take the guy's he did take the father's quirk, and then it kind of like recoiled on him because it wasn't compatible.
With the blood type.
Recoiled? Is it recoiled? Backlash on it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Recoil.
No, yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
just
Sure, yeah. It works. We'll go with that one, yeah.
It wasn't compatible with
Yeah.
his body because it was only for type A blood, and I guess the villain 9 had type B blood.
okay.
So he saw the video of the kids that the dad was watching, and he can see that he knows that
it's hereditary.
it's passed down.
Yeah.
The parents' quirk are passed down. So he assumed that one of the two kids would have a quirk that would work for him.
And so all of them goes to this island, the Nabu Island, where everybody is, the kids and all of the 1A class from UA. And so that's when the entire story kind of starts.
Yeah, that's where it gets exciting.
We are mad at that girl.
Which girl?
The little girl.
Oh, the
Yeah, wasting the
Homura?
hero's time.
Yeah.
What is her name? Homura?
I don't know, something dumb.
There's always one person that hates heroes in these movies.
Yeah, and it had to be her. And she was just kind of like making Deku run around and testing the heroes to prove. I guess she was trying to prove to her brother that
being
heroes.
a hero is
Because she was scared
not
for him,
worth
right?
it. Or
Yeah,
something.
she was trying to protect him because her brother was wanting to be a hero.
Her quirk was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's able to cast illusions, and I don't. It didn't really. Did it say what her quirk was called?
No, I didn't have a
Okay,
name.
yeah.
But
So-
it just seems like illusions of villains, I guess, or like monsters.
I think she can make
creatures,
whatever she
Yeah.
wanted.
Oh,
Because
she,
she made
created
Deku.
Deku.
The
Yeah,
weird-looking
that's
Deku,
right.
She
yeah.
made Deku,
Hmm.
which was like one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
That part.
For real?
Yeah, I love that part.
Why?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
All right.
Elaborate, bro.
Okay, so Deku ends up fighting 9 because all the villains are looking for the little kids with a quirk. So they kind of split up, but 9's able to find the two kids, and Deku rushes in to save them. And Deku's kind of holding off 9 for a good while, and then he ends up losing. And 9's like walking towards him, and the little kids are there like crying, and they're scared for him and trying to comfort him. And then that's when the girl uses her quirk and makes like a huge illusion of Deku, which is kind of like a chubby version of Deku. But then she's like, what did she say? Like, somebody please help. Like, somebody please help Deku. And then as soon as she said it, it was Bakugo. she said, somebody protect Deku or something.
Yes, I think it was, she used the word like protect.
Yeah, protect. And it was Bakugo that showed up at that moment.
I like them.
Yeah, because they have that rivalry, and it's like they're always butting heads, but he's the first one there at the scene to protect them. And that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. And then he immediately just jumps in and starts fighting.
Mahoro.
He's so
Mahoro is the girl's name.
he's strong.
Yeah.
I love him.
Bakugo is awesome.
Makes me mad, but I like him.
Yeah, we've been saying like he still has that persona of like that grumpy, like not caring about people. But you can see now he's showing it more how he's wanting to set an example for the future heroes and like the kids and the people in the community.
Just like
Yeah,
in
actually.
that episode with the kids, the elementary kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're seeing a different side of him. He's maturing as an individual for sure. Which yeah, I used to just hate Bakugo, but like we've been saying before in the past episodes that he's really having some major character development, and he's taking big steps to be like a real hero. You know,
As much as
I'm liking Bakugo a lot. Yeah, I'm loving him.
It's like even when he seemed like he didn't care when they were all going out and helping, and he was the only one staying back, he's like, there's a reason I'm staying. It's like, just in case something happens, I'll be here, and we're not just leaving it alone.
But of course, he has to still act tough.
Yeah, he's got to put on
mighty,
macho.
I wish we had gotten more Minette in this movie.
Oh my god.
You didn't get enough of him?
Okay, I feel like we need to go to the main points of this movie. Okay, so one of the main points would be when we already talked about when they were helping all these people and they're all together in this one island.
I think the first main point would be the first fight with 9.
Yeah.
That'd be the first like major point. Which we got two things for the anime only watchers. It was that 2 things new. It was that Deku was using that
with the air cannon.
The air cannon thing.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
And then after he lost to 9, 9 was trying to steal Deku's quirk, and then it was like all the past users of One for All blocked it. Like he wasn't able to do it. And
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
What did they mean when they said that's we were talking about this?
Yeah.
But what did he mean by you're able to have more than one quirk? Was it?
That's what we were talking about earlier too.
Was it? How'd you interpret it?
Yeah.
Because well, it kind of goes back into what happens later with Bakugo and Deku. So basically, like, let's say Bakugo inherited All for One, so then he'd have his explosion quirk on top of One for All. No. Yeah, One for All. I get the 2 mixed up. So it'd be like that, so having multiple quirks in one. But then the other thing was, or if it was like All for One, where you can like steal multiple quirks. So I don't know if it was saying like his body was compatible with the trait that you would be able to use for that. Like he could take on multiple quirks and he's going to be a target for the next experiment that they do or whatever, because he can, or if it was just something as simple as, inheriting it and having multiple things.
The way I saw it, do you have any thoughts on that?
What I wondered was if, so like the predecessors that had Deku's quirk that got passed to him, is if it stacked, if that counted, because like his strength was stacked over time.
That's kind of what I was
so that's how
too.
each character was like stronger than the last.
So like if the predecessors had a quirk, he would be able to, kind of like in Avatar, how the past avatars can, like the new one can use the past avatar skills. Yeah. That's kind of how I took that one.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what the quirks are for the other, because I think they said All Might didn't have a quirk when he inherited it. So I think Deku's at a point where he can develop One for All more than these other predecessors are. And I'm not sure it's just because of his personality or like his will, or if it's just how the quirk works, he's getting stronger and stronger. But I took it as he could use the past quirks of these other ones.
And that's also why they're saying they wanted Mirio for this. I think because Mirio has a strong quirk. Yeah. And
he'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
he'd be really perfect. And so he if he had the One for All quirk plus his own quirk, he would be
the permeation.
Yeah.
But now who doesn't have a quirk? I'm just kidding.
Horrible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That fight was really cool though, and just that was when they first saw Bakugo and Deku working together. And
that was
the teamwork was amazing.
Yeah. And did y'all tear up when he threw him?
Yeah, when he caught him in the air. Yeah,
I teared up.
That was awesome.
I just like, can we just appreciate how everybody was actually had some kind of frame or
significance
highlight
screen time.
Yeah, screen time. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks for being here, Ryan.
All right, I'm done.
But everybody was actually doing something really good, like not some kind of something small, except for some of them. But
which ones, Candace?
They still. It's like which ones? Well, even if they weren't, they were playing like a major role. Yeah,
like there was a protecting the.
Yeah, but the majority of the cast and the students were like using their quirk to its fullest potential.
But this is like on the second one, really, when they.
This is on the second fight. Yeah, it's on the second
fight. So on the first fight, it's when we see really good teamwork.
Blind, right? They're going into it blind, don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And they have the people there.
And they're trying to protect the people. Yeah.
And just to remind everybody, this is just them, the students. This is
it's only
without
no professional heroes.
No professional heroes. They have to protect all these people. They have no idea who these people are, so it's not like your typical villain where you can see them in the news and they have an idea of their quirk and they can kind of prepare. These are everything new for them, and so it's very
because they just showed up on the island.
Yeah, because the villains took out the communications almost instantly, they were not able to get any kind of distress call out.
And this is these are not petty villains either. They're freaking strong too. Like they're hella strong.
Like all for one level fighting they were doing.
They're so strong, and so for them to be able to handle this was really impressive. Really impressive.
Did they ever say what happened to the mummy dude?
He got
Did Bob go kill that guy?
He had him locked up, though, right? They showed him.
They had him captured.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they had him locked
Yeah.
up.
I just saw him
On the,
disintegrate the guy.
He's on the basement.
He's still there.
Yeah, they had
In
him
the
locked
They just
up.
left him.
Yeah.
They had him locked up and like chained up so he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But like, did they say what happened to him after that? Because I know they showed him like with his head down and him chained up.
Well, when they took all the, they didn't catch 9 because
Man,
he
where were they?
handled
Yeah.
him.
Were they on the island still?
When
He was like on the flowers.
Yeah, he was.
So how did that guy get
Did you
there?
watch?
Shigaraki?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because the warp wasn't like the warp gate guy. It was like smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah.
true.
How did he get there?
It's true.
I was like, is it just like the movie?
That just went over my head. I didn't even understand that. Anyway, the next part was
Maybe I just read too much.
what was the next part? They
So
it's after they lost that battle, right?
Yeah, and so Deku, Bakugo are the ones that's mainly injured really bad. The rest are kind of okay. They were healed.
Yeah.
And so
little
they
boy, right?
yeah.
I'm glad he.
Kazuma, what's his name? Katsuma.
Katsuma. Yeah.
Yeah, the little boy, and then we learned his skill is called
Cellular acceleration.
Yeah, so he was able to accelerate the what's it called?
The cells.
The cells.
Like the rebuilding of the cells.
Yeah, he
It
can rebuild
reminded
quicker.
me of Eri. Kind of. Like
But
how
like,
Eri, but
instead
Eri
of going backwards, he
Yeah.
was just actually healing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
going-
going
Yeah.
back in.
Yeah, she's going back in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they have that healing sort of.
Yeah, because Eri would reverse the damage, and he was like increasing the healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was
Because
doing.
then if he doesn't do that, he's gonna reverse way back to just dust.
And I guess the 9 villain was trying to get that quirk so he can. What was the deal with him? Because like he was always in pain.
Because the
all
effect of all the quirks
yeah.
was
too much.
I was there.
It was too much on his body.
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
kind of
That
like
makes
when
sense.
Deku uses like 100%,
Oh,
you know
the
how it breaks
strain.
him down?
Yeah, the strain.
Yeah, it would, using all the
Same
quirks was pretty much doing the same thing.
Hmm.
But if he had that last quirk, the cell
cellular
rebuilding,
acceleration.
Oh, okay.
Right.
He could just
then he
bypass
could,
all
yeah,
that.
it'd be
Yeah.
like when Eri and
Yeah.
Deku were together and he was using it and she was just taking him back to where he was.
We're basically the only ones that watched the entire movie. Pretty much.
Well,
Everybody
hey,
else-
He was actually sick before
Right.
he had the little surgery to give him his power. Because it showed him before, he was like, he coughed and he had blood on his hands. Mm-hmm. And then he had the surgery, so whatever it was that was wrong.
9?
9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Was this when I was gone?
I'm assuming so, yes.
I just remember seeing
Yeah,
him in
there
the-
was something
so-
already wrong with him.
Basically, there's
Oh,
only
okay.
3 people that watched the movie.
I was probably crying. No, for real. When was this?
This is
I thought the
bad.
first time I saw him, he was in the purple too.
In the
Is that-
car?
Oh, other than in the car, but like when Dr. Robotnik, Doctor dude,
Dr. Eggman.
yeah, you hit those kids, man. When they walked into the theater right before us, I was like, oh,
At least they're very funny.
because they're like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like how it's subtitles.
Okay, so they're feeding the people, kind of protecting their people, kind of getting better themselves, and then they start to plan how they're gonna go. Oh, no, I remember when Katsuma, or the little boy, he finally came out and he was like, "Well, they want me, and so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just
He
gonna."
was willing to give himself
Yeah,
up just to
that's
save
so
everybody
sad.
else.
Like, I'm just gonna give away myself, and that way everybody is not
Let's
affected
go
by
home.
this.
Problem solved.
It's taken.
There you go.
I'll take him if you pick him up. I thought they were gonna try to trick him. Trick
Ooh.
9.
That
How?
by
Like
giving
take
him
him and then they all
away,
just
but
swarm him.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's what I thought
So
they were
it's-
gonna
Yeah.
do.
But what they ended up doing was like a siege type thing. Is what they said in the movie.
Oh, this is
I like that word.
this is when it really gets good. Like when they
Yeah.
start acting on their plan. It was so good.
Yeah, there was like
The
an
animation
extension of
was
the.
good, too.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about for sure.
Okay.
So there's like an extension of an island. There's like a small pathway that they can take to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
So they take all the people to that. What was it? It looked like kind of like a castle area.
It was like ruins.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a ruins. Yeah. So they get evacuate everybody there, and then they plan a way to. That's the only path to get to the island.
Mm-hmm.
So their idea was to separate the
All of
9 and the 2 other remaining.
Yeah, because they had
guns.
already captured the
Yeah.
mummy guy.
Yeah, because they said they wouldn't be able to handle them all together at the
Yeah.
same time.
Okay, so what else? And so they started acting on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who were the first people were
Aoyama and Momo.
Aoyama and oh,
This is like
yeah, this is so good.
I was so
Like,
glad to see Aoyama actually get some
Me too. I love him.
like some actual screen
Yeah.
time and be relevant in the story.
I had a shirt made
Yeah,
of him.
yeah.
but I
Contribute. That's
wasn't
the
wear
word
it today.
Yeah.
Ashley didn't give me the shirt.
and
I
so
should
he
fight you. I had a shirt made with him when he's doing the sparkling face.
Yeah.
okay, so he
Like
shoots this beam, and then
Yeah.
and so anyway, so he shoots this beam
Super
that's
powerful
from
beam.
yes, and then he had the shoulder
Shoulder
things
and the
too,
knee
and
pads.
knee pads, yeah.
And he was shooting like bursts of it out of there too.
And then he gave his all, like plus ultra is what he
He
called
was
it.
saying
Yeah.
plus-
Yeah.
Yeah, plus ultra.
He gave it until he passed out, basically.
And he
All of
pooped
them.
himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what y'all imagine? Like diarrhea?
I thought he
seeping
I
out?
peed
don't
himself.
know.
I imagine he like gets the run.
Yeah,
Oh, is
because
that what
his
y'all-
stomach was
Yeah,
making
it's upsets his
sounds.
stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
He starts groundhogging.
I don't know why I thought pee himself. I don't know why I thought that.
This whole story that was pee himself.
Okay.
Okay, so
And then Momo makes these huge cannons,
Yeah.
and she's like firing at the villains.
Yeah, huge can.
okay, so he fired on the villains, and then what happens? Brian,
Oh, man.
Alondra.
So they're able to successfully split them up.
Do you remember
Yes.
this whole movie?
Yes. Okay.
We watched it like 2 hours
Just
ago.
watched it. Just watched the movie, bro.
But she like didn't even hesitate. Just goes on.
Okay,
Like
so
Rain- like
they all
Rain
get
Man.
split up, and then the red-haired girl, what's her name? Like Splice or something like that.
Slice.
Slice.
It was nice or something like that.
Nice. It was real nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Real, yeah.
There's something cutty.
Okay, so she then goes to this kind of
Bro, he just-
underground.
Yeah,
He lost
like
all
into-
credibility from that pee. From the y'all was peeing himself. No. Unsubscribe.
Okay, so and then who's the other guy?
The mutant looking guy.
Yeah, the monster looking guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He
so
has like an alligator tail. He has
Yeah.
wings.
yeah, and so he
Oh yeah.
he gets separated.
I was there.
Are they talking about this dude? I think was his name Chimera, or he was
Yeah.
like a Chimera.
His
Something.
name was Chimera.
Chimera.
Yeah.
That's like full.
What did they call
Yeah.
it?
Calling him what?
What
No,
they
I said,
call
what
it?
did they call the girl then? Because they all had a
Slice,
name.
I
It was
think.
like
So
Splice or
it
something
ended
like
with
that.
an I.
Yes.
She reminded me
Yeah,
of
it
that
was
guy
something
that
cutty.
Red Riot fought when he was first
Yeah.
going
Oh,
out
the
with
teeth?
Fat Gum.
Oh, the
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
knives? Yeah.
That's what she reminded me of.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the dude that they fought that
the
was in a
spiky
straight jacket.
teeth.
Oh yeah, that's a different dude. That's pretty much the same quirk though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hair, just hair.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so
What was the question?
Candace, you were talking?
So they get split up, and they split them up on purpose, so they put them with people that they knew they could fight well against.
All right.
yeah. Okay,
So-
so,
the
underground was who's what's his
Tokoyami.
name? Tokoyama.
Tokoyami.
Tokoyami.
Yeah.
And
Dark Shadow.
Mina.
Dark Shadow.
Man.
That's what I'm gonna call him.
When
Yeah.
when
Dark
they got
Shadow
shot in
and the
thigh.
acid girl.
Yeah.
Mina. Yeah.
Mina. Yeah.
Mina?
Mina.
Mina?
Yeah.
I said
Mina.
Minna.
I said
But
I
it's not-
should've-
Mina.
Yeah.
Ashido.
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 Man, when he got mad,
Yeah, man.
That
I
made me
was
cry
so
too.
hyped. And then when he said like, "This is my world too,"
Yeah, and he asked about Wolfram.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's because
Yeah.
he was controlling him, though. He
But
was
do you
still trying
think-
to keep him under.
Oh, my socks ripped.
Do you think it's because she was the weakest? You think it's because that villain was the weakest that they only had 2 students, or was it because Tokoyami was that powerful?
I think because
I
he had
feel
an
like
advantage too.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, they put him in the dark, so I think they kind of...
Yeah.
They're all kind of like in their environment where they're strongest.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
put Froppy
In the water, and then Todoroki can make the water ice, and so it's like everything has a purpose basically. I feel like the girl is the weakest one.
The invisible.
Yeah.
No, the
The
villain.
Splice
Oh.
girl, the red hair.
I was thinking the students.
Yeah, and I think the ones that the Chimera guy, he was probably a lot like levels and levels stronger than the Splice girl.
Has to be because they were on the first fight. There's a lot of them was trying to fight that Chimera
Yeah.
one, and then even Todoroki was part of that group, and then they can barely touch him.
Mm-hmm.
And you would expect more from Todoroki, but
But it's hard to judge too because they were trying, but they didn't know that because who was it? Tenya too came and tried to hit him, and he just absorbed that hit.
Yeah.
yeah.
He shook his
Well, they
hand.
also did say in that second fight about how they had to kind of hold back because the
Yeah.
civilians were there.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it was
Yeah.
one
So
on
now
one,
that-
they
yeah.
could, like, really let go.
That's a big factor.
But he
Okay,
saw it.
But even then, like, when they were fighting him the whole time, I don't think they got a really good hit on him at all.
The second
Yeah.
time,
Not at
or
all.
first?
And I,
Both.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the only thing was that both times for sure.
Mhm.
But the second time, the only reason they got like actually damaged was because they used Asui's poison
And
on
even
the
that,
punches, and he just like powered up more.
Let me
And
shed my fur.
Yeah, and then you got even more stronger, and because there was who was fighting him? It was Asui, Ira, Todoroki, Kirishima. Was that it? Just 4?
And
Seto? No, Seto was not fighting.
no, he was with,
Uraraka?
yeah.
Okay.
that was cool too.
But yeah. And then we were discussing this too. Why does it seem like Shoto's so weak
He's not.
compared to like when he first was introduced in the anime?
I don't know, but I mean, on the second fight, they gave him more screen time, more kind of like highlights on him towards the end of the fight when
Yeah.
he thought of the idea.
I think he's just fighting more carefully now. Like he's thinking more. Cause remember, like even when he at the tournament, he did do that powerful show where he did cover the whole thing with ice, but he was just showing like, oh, I can do this. But now he thinks about how to fight smart with both his sides. I think so.
But
But
do you think that handicaps him though by doing that?
Because we're talking about why does Todoroki seem weaker this time than...
Cause he's with people too. If he does something too big, he's gonna hurt him. Cause there's other people. That's what I'm thinking. Cause if he does huge ice things, he can hurt everyone around him that's fighting.
But you have to think about all the fights before, like when they had the tournament between the students. He didn't really do anything other than freeze them.
Yeah.
Like, he would keep them to where they weren't able to move. He wasn't actually fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's more of a defensive.
Yeah, the only
person,
one
I
he
would
fought
think.
was Deku. That's the only one he fought, and then he kind of just gave up when he was fighting Bakugo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Did we just rebut you, bro?
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because we have seen him a lot stronger, especially the first time he used his fire half against Deku in the tournament, and like they pretty much blew the stadium apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time around, and what didn't make sense to me was the guy like shrugging off the fire. Because he's not fire, bro. I mean, he's got feathers and everything, so it's like I expected it to affect him more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Like, I was confused about him. Like, I was telling y'all a while ago, like, what is his quirk? Like, what does he do? Why does he breathe out fire or something? I'm like,
Lasers.
Yeah, the
yeah,
lasers.
lasers too. I'm
That was
like,
out of nowhere.
I'm confused. But anyway.
Because we were saying we thought it was like Sun Eater's quirk where he has the different animal parts.
But maybe
But
he's just a
then-
monster, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking about it later because he wasn't able to change what parts he had, like Sun Eater. So I'm not sure what that guy was.
He was just a freak, like for real.
Yeah, like an experiment too.
Or just like a
freak.
Yeah, it might have been.
That's what they referred to him as, a monster, though. Because that's how Nine got him to be part of his team. He was like, you're not a monster. He's like, even if that's what they call you, we can use you. You're powerful.
Maybe he had broken out of the place that was making him. And then, like, Mewtwo. You know how Mewtwo in the Pokemon movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's what he did. When they showed the destruction around him, maybe he was breaking out of that place that was making
It did show, like, a lot of, it looked like security guards or police or something.
Something like that. Or it can just be a city who left. I hate these.
Or it's like
pick this place and just destroy everything.
Maybe it's like the Nomu, how they were making the Nomu.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that too.
Well, I wish it told us how far back that was too. When he went to go recruit him. And why just him? Why didn't show him getting anyone else?
Maybe he's like the strongest out of all the.
Yeah. Because Bakugo fought that dude just by himself, basically.
Yeah.
He showed up and beat him. And then the two people fought the girl. And it took like 7 people to take down.
All right, let's keep moving.
Stopped him like momentarily. They froze him.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about how they beat him? They had to use Tenya as a distraction. Yeah, everybody. They had to use Tenya as a distraction, and then who was it? Shoto and Kirishima were riding on the ice, and Kirishima was in front. So Kirishima went his unbreakable special attack. And he kind of tanked that laser beam.
Okay.
So he's
yeah.
on 4
Yeah.
We need someone to take all his damage.
And then Shoto jumped on the Chimera guy, and Ida and Asui were blocking for him while he was. What was he doing? He's trying to compare it because his dad.
So get as hot as you can.
So he was trying to do the opposite and get as cold as he could. And he kind of did like a complete freeze from the inside of the Chimera guy.
So I feel like he was trying to buy time by having Kirishima protect him for some time until he's more ready to jump on the villain. Yeah. And when he jumped on the villain, that's when the villain was getting ready to shoot the beam.
Yeah.
Right? And then so that's when he finally got into the lowest temperature that he could get, and then shoved that hand inside the mouth. Yeah. And then he tried to freeze the beam. And then so he was saying like to go to the core, I think, or something like that, and then freeze his entire body. And then it stops the beam. Everybody's frozen. He was frozen himself, and he seemed like he was cold.
Yeah, he was shaking.
It was really cold
after he did it.
Man,
okay.
Go ahead.
They.
I was gonna say the animators and I don't know the positions, but they did a really good job of showing like how hard the people were getting hit. Because I would flinch when they would get hit.
Yeah,
and I hardly ever.
It was really intense.
Like when they hit him with the tail. When they hit. Was it Tenya?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you hear their heads. Yeah.
And like even when they punch, like when they're fighting him on the beach too at first, when he would hit them, like hit the tail, I like feel it.
You can see like go in from the impact.
Yeah. Like I felt it like in my body. Like, I would wince and flinch. I was just saying because the fight too, right there when you got slammed together.
That hurt.
I felt that.
For real.
Man, I love when they come in last second. Like when he was gonna get hit with the tail and Tenya comes. Kicks him. I love that. I eat that up.
Okay, so this guy was beaten.
There's my input.
So who's the next one?
Oh.
Or was the girl the first one that got beaten?
Yeah, the girl.
The first one.
Yeah. She was like shooting the needles out, and they got Mina and Tokoyami. Then he saw Mina get hurt, and that's when he got really upset. And he went into like complete.
But before that, she had already threw the acid and cut
on
off
hair.
most of her hair.
Yeah, she went crazy too.
Yeah, that's when she started throwing the little.
Way better.
Like,
and she didn't even get hit that bad. It was like 3 needles on her.
On her leg.
It was weird seeing his arms.
Oh yeah, it was.
Y'all notice
because he's got people hands. Yeah.
Because like I know he has them, but he always has it in his cloak. In this whole movie, he had his arms.
Yeah. That's fun.
I just things I know.
And so he kind of Tokoyami. His shadow kind of got out of control. Because remember the way his shadow can be controlled, or he's kind of controlling his shadow, because remember it can get really bad. But anyway, so I feel like that's when he snapped.
He just let it loose.
Yeah, he let it loose and then beat her, and then all the rocks or the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah, I think she directed the needles up to open up the ceiling so the shadow would go away. But so they both got defeated at the same time.
Yeah. You think that saved him? That way you could get control back?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that seemed a little convenient in the fight.
Yeah. Okay, so the main fight.
This is the best part. This is such a good fight. So he's going up straight to where the two kids are up top, at the very top of this hill. And it's Uraraka and Zero. And they're like throwing rocks at him because they figured out that they're trying to wear him down as he uses his quirk.
Oh yeah, from the first fight they kind of figured out that he has a limit, and once he reaches that limit he kind of breaks down. So they were trying to push him, they were all trying to ambush him and get him to that limit.
Yeah, to drain him.
Yeah, so they could capture him or whatever they were going to do.
I know y'all mentioned before that he had 8, did he have 8 quirks? Stolen?
He has 8 stolen, 9 total that he can use.
Because I only saw him using like 4, maybe.
Okay, the circle.
I think that one and the air one are the same thing, right?
No, I don't think so. I think the circle one is to protect more like a defensive.
Because
lasers.
Because when Deku attacked that first time, he said it was a wall of air when he hit it. That's why I thought it was the same quirk.
Then what was the force field for?
Huh? That was the wall of air.
That was the wall of air that he was putting up.
When he would blow them away, would the circle come up? Remember when he just launched their bodies?
I don't know.
Maybe in reality, like they can't really see it, but they're showing the circle for us, like for visual for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's count it as
okay,
one.
let's just say 1.
Okay, so the shield
lasers,
one.
The finger lasers is 2.
The dragons.
The 2 dragons. And then the lightning.
The lightning.
That's 4.
And then the cell thing that he got from the dad that didn't work with his body. Because remember, he took the cell regenerate.
But it didn't work.
It didn't work, so he couldn't take it.
Did he just leave it after that?
He couldn't. It's incompatible with him.
But didn't he take...
Well, I don't know, because he didn't give it back to the dad.
Maybe he took it, but he couldn't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say 5.
Let's fill up these 9.
5? That's 5, though.
So what else?
That's all I remember seeing.
The 5th one is not even 100%
you count the dragons
sure.
already?
Yeah, we count the dragons.
Is the tornado...
I would consider that like the lightning, like the weather.
Yeah, the weather one and the wind.
So the weather one is kind of 1 quirk.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else?
I think that was it. That's all I remember seeing.
Maybe they couldn't think of stuff either.
Yeah.
Well, no, because maybe they still had spots because he tried to take Deku's. Even after knowing he still needed the little boy's quirk.
Right. But he said he didn't have enough free spaces.
Yeah.
Trying to do that.
He didn't have enough free spaces.
Dump them? How does he get rid of them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. The eye one where he can see the...
Maybe that's his
quirk.
Maybe I feel like that's his own.
His
maybe
own
that's
quirk?
his own quirk, where he can see
powers.
how powerful
Yeah.
each person is.
6.
That's 1.
6.
Ryan,
I might have ideas over here.
I don't know. Well, that's the main ones he was using though was the finger lasers and the air pressure and or shield.
The dragons.
And the dragons. That was the 3 main ones he was using.
The lightning seems like kind of like a last resort.
Yeah, I feel like that takes a lot out of him to use that one.
So he doesn't really use it as often. Okay, so we get to...
Alright, so they're throwing rocks. Him, Zero and Uraraka are throwing rocks at him and trying to get him to use his quirk and tire him out.
That scene was cool too.
Yeah, because you can see Uraraka really straining herself.
Yeah.
And especially at the end where there's like this huge like pile of rocks and sticks.
When they use Mineta to stick all the rocks together.
Yeah,
even Mineta that barely fights. Like
Hey, leave him
he was drained out by that.
And then so they piled on all these rocks on him and that still didn't hold him down. And then what happened after that? You remember what happened?
So
did you already mention
first defense, second defense?
Yeah, tell us what happened.
did you already mention the one that creates items from her, takes out items from her body? What's her name?
Momo.
With the cannons.
With the cannons.
Yeah.
No, that was it because after that last attack, that was their main attack. Remember, and then that's
and
when Deku and
Bakugo.
They did say phase 1 was successful.
Yeah.
Right, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
So I guess the next step was just for Bakugo and Deku to tire him out as much as they could and hold him off. And then this fight was beautiful too because they're just showing the teamwork between the two that we really don't see much of in the anime. I think the only time we saw them work together was during one of the tests when they were going against All Might.
Yeah,
that's one of the few times we saw them work together.
but even then,
Yeah,
it was very
forced.
minimal.
Yeah.
But just seeing them, like, these two rivals work together, and I don't know if it's like respect, but they were very compatible, and they were not working well together. That's what I'm looking for. They complemented each other well, and they picked up the slack for each other. And like, even whenever Deku would get distracted, Bakugo would get him back on track. He's like, focus on what's happening here. And just seeing these two powerful students, the top of the class, try to fight this villain. And yeah, it's just it was such a good moment. And Deku's trying to use his this was the part we talked about before. He used the St. Louis smash where he does a kick. Is it St. Louis?
Yeah.
Something. I remember him saying St. Louis.
Yeah, and then he kicks him right at the beginning, and he bounces back, and then that's when Bakugo catches him, and then he uses like the explosions to make him spin faster. He throws Deku back at him, and it's an even more powerful attack. And just I love that part. Yeah, that was such an amazing part. And then that whole first part of the fight is just more of that, and they end up getting worn down, and
so we finally get to the
they
part
get to
where
the point where he's like, okay, he's starting to looks like he's glitching almost.
Yeah.
He starts like spazzing out a little bit. Yeah.
Then he takes his insulin.
And he said something about I need to not hold back or something.
He
Or why is this holding me
twice,
back?
doesn't he? Because he takes the 2 shots of his thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes like beast mode.
Yeah, he's
After, because like, okay, he used his liquid.
And
And
then
then like, this is the
Like
time
at
that
this
he
point,
does
he
it
can
again.
see the little boy again in front of him, and he's like, okay, this is now or never. I'm either gonna do it or not. And he goes into like second gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when that music started as well, like the soundtrack that was playing for that last fight, like was there any music throughout the rest of the movie? Because I couldn't remember any.
Yeah, it wasn't any like vocals though.
Okay.
Just like
usually-
the basic, like what's background in like the normal episodes.
Yeah, like especially in the first part, they played "You Say Run" like normal speed, and then they played it like a slow version towards the middle. Like in the first fight with
Somebody
9.
confirmed it.
But I noticed that too. That they played like a song, like you said, with vocals at the end. It reminded me of the Zuko and Azula fighting. Cause like they didn't really focus on the sounds of their explosions and all that.
Right, they toned it down.
Yeah, and then
they
like,
turned during the Agni Kai at
yeah,
the end. Yeah.
and then it reminded me of that because it was it wasn't an intense song. It was like highlighting. Like he says, like it was more graceful of a fight because it sounded.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just went well with the music because they were doing cool stuff.
And I feel like you can feel more their emotions, and you're trying to think like them in that moment when they're not really.
Yeah.
Because the entire time they were yelling, screaming,
Yeah.
just a whole bunch of sounds. But when the music started playing, that's when I really felt more of what they're thinking throughout the fight.
Yeah, it made them seem like they had a stronger connection, Bakugo and Deku, because they were. I mean, at this point, they're not communicating; they're just acting, and they're able to do it without going back and forth between each other, without arguing. It's just,
this is the second part of the fight, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about okay,
Before they get messed up.
Yeah, man. This was
So
such
we
a
get
good-
to the point where he, with using the 2 blue dragons, the dragons were holding them up in the air. They can't do anything. This is when they're worn out, tired, they're done, they're almost done, they can't do anything anymore. And then this is when he's walking close to the boy. And then, so basically at this time, it's just a matter of getting their strength back, if they have any strength back, or thinking of something to do to get out of there and do something. And then so Deku, what did he do? I'm blanked out.
He said there's one way we can do
there's
this.
only one way we can win.
Oh, you remember something.
My eyes went watering. Yeah.
Okay, so there is only one thing that we need to do. At first, I was thinking that it's some kind of like combo move that they have together, but then like 3 seconds later I was like, it clicked on me. I was like, oh my god, like he's not gonna do it. And then they started reaching
because
on each other.
because 9 was walking closer and closer to the little boy.
Yeah.
And they're both like reaching out. They're both getting held up by these two dragons.
At first, Bakugo was confused too.
Yeah.
Then they looked in each other's eyes, and Bakugo's just like, "You're not being serious, are you?"
Yeah.
Man,
it's almost like
this made me cry because like you know how they're like this, but then they held each other's hands.
Or grabbed
that
it.
made me cry too.
Yeah.
Because they held each other's hands tight. Yeah. I was like, oh. I thought he was just gonna like touch each other.
And then it's like when he realized too, it was like there was a pain in his eyes. Bakugo, yeah. Because it's not.
It's more like
It's like he understood what Deku was trying to do.
Yeah.
And that there was no other option.
Yeah.
And that
this quirk was given to Deku specifically, and so for Deku to give it to Bakugo, it just seems like why me? But at the same time, I know we have to do this.
Like we have to do it. We have no choice.
Yeah. And so anyway, so they did it. They held hands, got the blood from Deku, and then they started powering up. And then that's when they protected the boy. Yeah.
And that scene was just so crazy. Because Bakugo was worried too that he asked Deku, "Are you going to be able to fight still?"
Yeah,
and then,
I was worried about that too. I was like, so he's just going to give all the power to Bakugo and have him do all the work, but then...
That's what
he said, because he said All Might still had the embers of it, and he was still able to protect people.
Yeah, and Bakugo brought it up like more than once.
Yeah, he's like, he kept asking, "Are you sure?" Yeah.
And at that time too, I was wondering how Deku, like physically, how he's still able to do anything, because he already has one of his arms messed up, and then Bakugo is still, I mean, physically better than Deku was. And then it's funny because the first time that Bakugo, you know, his arm, he was like...
Yeah, because he had... Well, they had the storm going, right?
Yeah.
And they both punched up into the sky to stop the lightning and the storm. And that was when they were both screaming. That's when we saw Bakugo, his hair shot back, and he had the electricity.
Like Super Saiyan.
Yeah, and Deku... it was awesome. And then Deku got the...
They were lighting up, too.
Deku was like his perfect 100%, like when he was fighting Overhaul, because they had like the lightning and the eyes were different, and
his eyes were different in that.
Yeah.
Versus Overhaul too.
Yeah, it was like that too.
Yeah, that's the first. I think that's the first time.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
You just saw the green and the yellow, and then like you said, they both punched up, and you know how.
Do you know who said that?
No, no, about the arm though.
Yeah,
the arm thing.
And so when Bakugo got the arm. He at first, I guess he's not used to it.
Yeah.
Did y'all notice?
Yeah. And then Deku's like, we gotta keep going. Yeah. Like it was normal for Deku.
Shake it off. We gotta keep going with Bakugo, and then Bakugo was just like.
Yeah, he's like hurting.
Yeah. For a second, he realized that his arms messed up.
Yeah. Deku's like both his arms.
Yeah.
I don't understand why when he was fighting he didn't do his ultimate stuff with his legs.
Who, right? Deku?
Yeah. Like when his last hits. He did.
He did. He was doing his kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. And then so
when they were doing moves together, though, they were
his
arms.
Yeah. Never mind him.
So I was like, it wasn't the whole point of his outfit, so he could use his legs and I guess he was
he did towards the end.
Yeah, he was doing it towards the end.
It reminded me when he was fighting him when it was just Bakugo and was it Tinya? Fighting when they were fighting in the building when one team was the villain, because that he punched straight up too to get the
right in front of Bakugo's
face. That's what it reminded me of when they did that.
It's one of the first episodes.
Yeah, but then this part was just amazing, beautiful. The animations. They just went in on this villain. They were just going back and forth, and I can't remember the animator or the director of the animation, but he's the one. I think it's the same one that did the first fight with Shoto and Deku when they're doing that tournament arc.
Yeah,
I think you know how the same animation was real smooth and clean, and he likes to do that little cube effect too, and I saw a lot of that, and then the waves of the attacks. So I think it's the same animator, but I need to double check on that. But it was a lot of it, and you can just see how dynamic the movement was, and it was just smooth, and you can see I think I saw it looked like Bakugo was using like his physical attacks, but also using his explosions too. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got a glimpse of what somebody with a quirk and having One for All could do, and that was his first time using One for All, and you can just see how more powerful it makes somebody, and it shows you the kind of what's it called? Is he a prodigy? They call it Bakugo a prodigy.
I don't think so.
But as someone as skilled as Bakugo is able to handle that quirk and use it effectively, just as Deku was. Yeah, but that was amazing. The music was playing the whole time, and it was just beautiful. What did y'all think about that?
Well, it looked like it also really overpowered his own quirk. Because, when he like slid down that inside, like the part of that mountain, and he like blew the mountain away that was in front of him. Mm-hmm. And he kind of turned it, like he used the rocks, he kind of turned it into projectiles and like spun it towards that guy. It looks like the One for All like really overpowered his own quirk. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if y'all noticed this too, but every time Nine would do this massive, very strong attack, I thought that was it. Okay, that was it. That's his last power up, and then he powers up even more. The next time, and then so Deku and Bakugo have to keep up with him every time he powers up. And then there's a moment where they showed like the outside of the earth with a it's kind of like a storm, did y'all see that? But anyway, I was wondering in my head, like, is that him doing that? Like, is that Nine doing the whole weather?
Yeah, I think it was. That was him doing that.
I was like, I think that was pretty insane.
Yeah, he was powerful. He really was powerful.
But I mean, if he thought he was gonna die because having all those quirks was overwhelming him that much, then I mean, I don't
see why he would hold back.
Yeah, why he would hold back. If that was his only chance of surviving, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. What else? Did anyone else thoughts about that last fight?
The colors were good together.
Colors were pretty.
I like colors. No, they complemented each other well because they were both bright, and it wasn't too well for people without epilepsy, like the warning.
Oh yeah, they warned at the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know if you have epilepsy, Ryan, but
no, I was alright.
Because usually because they're both very intense, loud colors. Was it orangish yellow?
Yeah.
And then his bright blue, greenish thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't too bad on the eyes. It complemented each other well, especially with, like you said, how fluid it was.
Mm-hmm. So you were thinking the epilepsy.
It's poor people.
Very thoughtful.
No, but for real, because like colors make a difference.
Yeah.
Because it really showed how elevated their powers were.
Yeah, and you can see like at first you could see how detailed they were with the fighting, and then the way the animation changed, it was like just electricity going through. I think that was kind of showing you how fast and how powerful they were when they were attacking this guy. And even still, it took them both using One for All and 100%. And that's what Deku was thinking. It needed two people using that to take this guy down. And then at the end, you saw where Deku does his last, what did he call it? Like final smash?
His final smash.
Yeah.
And
that was sad.
Smash Bro. And then you can see it was very reminiscent of when All Might was fighting All for One when he did the United States of Smash, and you saw
when it showed the ember
burning out. Yeah,
I was mad.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, I was like, "What's happening right now?" Because
I was like, "This better not be connected to the series because if Deku's out."
Because at that point, it was like Bakugo's the new inheritor.
That's how it's kind of looking.
That's what they made it seem. Yeah. And they let us hold on to that for a while before they gave us the information. And
so the rescuers came. Yep. The fight was over. Rescuers came.
It's in the movie.
And then All Might was holding Deku. And then he was just staring at Deku and he says, Deku wakes up and then he goes like...
He immediately tells him. Well, he asked how Bakugo was doing.
Yeah. First. And like how Deku still thinks of other people.
Before himself. Yeah.
And then that's when... I was confused a little bit when Deku explained to All Might how they had to do that thing where he had to transfer their power to Bakugo. And then All Might was surprised, but then I was like, didn't you not see Bakugo's arms? Like, wouldn't you assume? I mean,
same color, man.
I mean, it was, you know, I'm just saying, like, would you kind of assume that happened based on Bakugo's arms? But anyway.
You didn't even
But
check
maybe
on
he
Bakugo.
wouldn't.
Kid.
Had his back to it.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't.
No, but the way they explain the arms is that they're broken. So, because every time that happens to him, they're like, "Oh, his arms are broken."
Exactly,
So
like
maybe
how,
he just
yeah.
thought-
Like you said, just a visual for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just bruised.
Man, I thought they were gonna show like the bone. I mean, they kind of did. Like, you know how it showed like the joint coming up.
Uh-huh.
I thought they were gonna show like real ugly.
Oh.
Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Like when they were both
Mhm.
going in. I thought it was gonna show like the.
Oh yeah.
Like does All Might do that when he's fighting All for One? Like his arm bend out of place.
I feel like it just
I don't
gets
remember.
I
really
remember seeing it
wiggly
purple. I don't remember it
weird.
like
Yeah.
bending or anything.
That's
Yeah.
why I was like, oh, don't show that.
Yeah, but then we get Deku telling All Might that he transferred the power to Bakugo, and that he doesn't have All for One anymore.
I was
One
confused
for
about
all?
this.
One for all anymore. But and then that's when he All Might was given.
Oh, hold on. Did y'all assume Deku died in his arms?
Yeah, I kind of thought he
Yeah.
died for a second.
I really thought he did.
Yeah,
I thought
You
that's
didn't
what
think he died?
happened.
I didn't think he
Yeah,
died.
he's just holding him.
I thought he did.
Man,
I thought he
when
died.
Passed
Deku
out.
cries
Yeah.
is hard. When All Might cries,
Yeah,
it's
when All
hard.
Might cries, it,
And then they were
it gets
both
me.
crying. That's why I started crying.
You
That's
were
what-
crying
that's what
before
I-
that.
Yeah.
That's why I lost it.
He's like, I knew I didn't make the wrong choice
Yeah.
choosing you as my successor.
I hate when All Might cries.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
He
Yeah.
just
Game
came
over,
over
man.
and cry.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, see, I was.
you can see the
The light,
The brick
Deku's-
colors.
glowing.
Deku's body lit
yeah.
up again, and
So
he's
the-
like, "It was a miracle."
Yeah, that's what I was. So is that really what it was? Just a miracle? Is that how they explained
It was
it?
an
Yeah,
asshole.
like the
That's what it
predecessors
was.
of the power protected it,
Yeah.
or
That's
something like
So
that.
like he used it for good. He gave it up for
Yeah.
the good of everyone else. So we're just gonna let him keep it
But
Yeah.
so the reason was that Bakugo passed out before it transferred.
before it transferred.
That didn't make
completely.
any sense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't remember either. Like,
Yeah, that was pretty
that
bullshit
bugged
too.
me.
That was pretty
Confused,
bullshit.
Yeah.
I wish he remembered because he
That's
hated
kinda-
himself.
Yeah.
He was like, I used your Deku's power.
What? What was it? What were you saying?
No.
What were you saying?
I forgot what I was thinking.
No, because I don't know what's worse. Because like you said, I don't want to say the word, the butt pool. Like, oh, it's all fixed now.
Well,
It's a miracle.
They kind of like have done that before. Remember in that tournament arc when he was fighting that? You remember that purple hair guy where he would like control him?
But that was just him when he flicked his finger to get out of the mind control.
But he saw the predecessors, right?
Yeah. But still, that was just him. It wasn't him giving one for all.
It was just a little
One of
taste.
those.
Just a little taste.
But it wouldn't have been as bad if we saw the flame. If we didn't see the flame go out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
for
gone.
sure.
Yeah.
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 But maybe if they showed it, because not even All Might did that. Because
Well-
his got little tiny, and then it got big when he was fighting again.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe because it's Deku,
Yeah.
little Deku. But I don't know how
I
I
mean,
feel about that. I mean, I'm glad he still has it. But
All Might did mention that something about Deku sacrificing him or risking his life for.
putting others first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, how
Like,
how does that work?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just wish they made it a little more cleaner.
Yeah,
Plot
Well,
armor.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
For
what
real.
it basically was.
Well, it's a 2 hour. I mean, not even 2 hours. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after that, so Deku's back alive again. I mean, I'm glad.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody's.
Yeah.
I think everybody just took a breath when we got.
Yeah, it was
Deku.
silent in that theater.
Except
Yeah,
for
it wasn't
those
quiet.
kids.
It was
The,
quiet.
the
God.
kid, the whole movie, he was like this. Like if this is a screen, he was like this.
Yeah, looking back at people. Okay. Anyway.
He's a his poor dad. He had like 4 kids. He took to the rescue.
Yeah. All right. And then that's pretty much how the movie ended. They had like a little session where they healed everybody, and then they stayed a little bit to fix up some of the damage. And the last scene is when they're back on the boat and all the students are leaving. And
they implied that Deku didn't say bye to the kids.
Yeah, they
And
said
then
it.
that's when the kids
Showed up
try
with the
to
dog.
catch up with them.
Yeah.
And
That
then he
was
says he says a couple of things that are reminiscent of what All Might says to him.
Yeah.
You can be a hero.
Yeah, you can be a hero for sure. And then when
Yeah.
he's talking to him outside the house, I think he says some stuff.
Yeah.
But
Like your quirk is.
yeah. And then what's it called? When Bakugo's asking, like, you're not gonna say bye to them, I think that humanizes him a little bit more too.
Mhm.
It's like, don't you want to say something to him? Even though he
Listens-
says it like arms crossed.
Yeah.
It
Scoffing
listens to
at you.
monster.
Do you think if he, like, deep down, he wants to do that too? But he's, like, doing it through Deku?
Do what?
Like,
Talking to the kids.
yeah.
Oh. No, I don't. I think that's reading too much.
No.
No.
Because
Yeah, bro, get out of here.
he's got that persona, though, that he needs to keep up. Like, he doesn't care.
Because
Yeah,
like,
he did seem pretty happy when they showed up.
Yeah, he did. Mm.
Maybe he's slowly coming out of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that
Yeah, it was such a good movie.
It
I'm
was.
just glad Deku getting some.
But
what is it?
so back, like rewind a little bit when they were fighting Scarf Boy or
Scarf
whatever.
Boy.
Yeah, the dude with the
Scarf.
red whatever. Yeah,
Which one?
The mummy?
Mummy.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Mummy.
So, like, it bugged me that none of them actually attacked him.
Yeah,
Like they were just attacking his dummies, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, why does
They didn't even show him moving, like evading.
no?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
just standing there, just chilling.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, because even Oyama was just like, shoot.
Yeah,
Things in the
Yeah.
Just shoot him.
it's like that guy that made the little, like, when they were fighting the other schools, or not fighting them, but the guy that made the little meat things.
meatball guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same thing. They were attacked. Well,
Yeah.
Well, except for what's his
they
name?
were trying to
Kirishima?
kill the people.
The yellow dude. Electric dude.
Oh,
Come on.
Kaminari.
Coming.
He
Yeah.
actually
Used him
had
as
six-
an
When
electric
Bakugo said
rod.
like he's useless idiot, and they got
Yeah.
him to absorb that lightning.
Yeah, that
was
was
hilarious.
yeah.
Oh, that's another thing too. They had
That was a great scene.
enough humor in there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't just a serious movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't too much where it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think it was alright.
It was good. All right. Overall, last impressions. What y'all rate it?
10 out of 10.
What you got? We'll just go down.
What now,
we'll just go down
Ryan?
the row.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8
You got-
is too
what's the
low.
reason?
Reason? I mean, because like
just hate
a lot of it has to do with like the plot armor stuff, just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
junk not
That's
making
true.
sense.
Yeah, towards the end especially.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. 9.5.
That was my rating. I got a 9.5 for it. Just because the beginning was a little bit slow.
What does that mean? It's
Yeah.
not like fighting in
And-
like the first second of.
Okay.
But it's not that it's not just
And then it's like
Fine.
what Ryan said, like the ass pulls that they did. Yeah,
it's not that
9.5.
I don't mind if it wasn't like you said, it's not fighting, but it just dragged on a long time.
Yeah.
But not like too long, like
These are the people that doesn't pay attention to
you know what I'm gonna say.
details.
That's why
Which
they
one?
got
I'm not
bored.
gonna say
What movie was it?
I'm not gonna say it.
What are you talking about though?
I'll tell you later.
Okay, so Alondra,
Tell me off the camera.
how would you rate it?
I would say a 9.5.
I say 9.
Reasonable.
All right, what's y'all's reasons? Not a
Like-
perfect 10.
Ryan said though.
That's what Ryan said.
Yeah, man.
But
Well-
that's the only issue I had with it.
But it
Just the
wasn't
ending,
even
yeah.
like a big.
And it was like quick.
It was pretty big at the end though.
Well, yeah, that's true. But then again,
Like he
It's a
explains it
movie.
in 2 sentences
Yeah.
what happened.
Ruined the whole movie for me.
It didn't ruin it because it
I walked out at the theater.
and the I don't know why Bakugo this is memory.
Yeah, that was really. They didn't explain that at all.
No.
That he lost.
So oh, he can't remember. That's convenient.
Yeah.
But also, like when they first arrived on the island and they just like crashed the boat through all that stuff and just into the and I couldn't help but think like wouldn't it have been a lot easier to get the kids if they would have just been discreet?
Yeah, where'd they get the boat from too?
Yeah,
There's no people on the boat.
How did it end up sideways?
yeah,
so
you're
many
right.
questions.
They could have just looked for him.
Yeah.
Like, conspicuous.
like all nice and quiet. It's like no, it's like
It's like the kids are always out.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids are always like ready to be taken away.
Yeah.
And there's always,
And they
yeah.
destroyed that island.
Yeah,
too.
and then they
Yeah.
didn't even know that
Right, the
heroes
place.
were there. They didn't expect all those heroes to be there, so why even go in there and
making a
destroy
big
it?
scene.
Let's
If they
cut
knew
all
the kid's dad
communication.
wasn't there, how hard would it have been to just go and take them? You knew what they looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
For real, so they just went just to crush that little island.
Yeah.
Because
They ruined that place.
There wouldn't be a movie if all of this
and he takes his whole squad. No one stay here and watch. He said, nah, y'all go.
They're trying not to
Kill as
risk
many
it.
people as you can.
Can we mention for a quick second what happened to that to 9? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at the very end?
yeah, at the very end
Yeah.
when I feel like kind of like I don't know if this is me thinking too much, just like a little metaphor or meaning. Like they're on this beautiful bed of flowers, and then all these like evil people, and then him 9 laying down on a beautiful field, just crawling, and then he was dying, and then Shigaraki's there.
Okay.
Anyway, Shigaraki's there, and then that's when he was saying that you did a good job. Like I guess kind of like implying I used you pretty well.
Yeah.
Or you did something good for me or whatever.
I did a good job.
Even from the beginning, though, I mean, I guess they both were using each other because he used Shigaraki and his team to be able to get all the quirks.
Yeah.
Because he went in knowing he was going to betray them.
Oh, for
Yeah.
real?
Huh?
Yeah,
What part was
They
that?
talked about it.
Oh, when he met his Chimera and all them on the woods.
Okay. I didn't see this
Is that what
part.
you're talking about?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
he was discussing with them that he was going to go with them, and they're like, why are you going to team
Oh,
up
yeah,
with
yeah,
Shigaraki?
yeah. I remember
He's
that.
like, no, I'm just going, to be
okay.
able to get the powers or whatever.
Yeah. Were you trying to say it's some kind of symbolism for these evil people in this
Maybe.
beautiful place?
It's just the flowers are just like blossoming, growing,
Yeah.
living, and then this person 9 is dying.
Oh, okay. It's like the contrast between it.
God, I don't know, but this is probably me just pulling something.
Yeah.
Thinking
Were
something.
they on the island too?
Yeah, they were on
Yeah.
the
Because they could still see everything. He couldn't have gone that far.
Yeah.
And then the smoke. We talked about the smoke. A little
Yeah.
bit.
We didn't know how he used the... Because was it you, Ryan, that said he didn't have the work? Or was it Nicky?
He did.
Even
Because it
if
wasn't
it
this.
was,
It wasn't the purple and black. It was just like
Yeah.
smoke, like dark.
Yeah,
gray
it just
smoke.
poof.
Yeah.
unless there was
Yeah.
something from where he came from that was covering up. Like they were causing destruction somewhere else, and that's what he was coming out of all the
Oh, yeah,
stuff
maybe.
that they were doing.
I don't know.
And then Shigaraki said that he's going to continue on his plans, on 9's plans.
Was he talking about
This is
finding someone else to do the quirk, like offer one? Is that
Yeah.
is that how y'all interpreted
I
it?
think he's trying to make like another all for one.
Yeah. Because how he said it sounded like he was gonna do it.
yeah.
But don't you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he would have already been training with that, especially since he worked so close with worked so close with All for One?
Yeah.
I was confused.
Unless he's trying to perfect it before he gets it done on himself.
Well, he is young too. He's like,
Maybe.
how old is he?
He's probably like 20s, like late 20s.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was younger than that. They make it sound like he's a baby, like 15, 16. Don't they?
Not really.
Because they're like when they first introduce him, they're like, "Yeah, you're so young," and I'd expect that from someone who's
I don't know.
like.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm always scared to look up stuff because I'm
Yeah, I
scared I'm
try.
gonna see things I'm
Like
better in the-
deceased.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
I don't
It
know.
was a good movie.
I liked
I
it.
liked it. Yeah, Shigaraki marked him at the end.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
Middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
He put on his mask just to go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that went a lot faster than it usually does, didn't it? When he used his quirk, because doesn't it like usually like a slower decay?
Mm-hmm.
But that was like,
with the
Yeah.
eraser head. Like he's holding on to
Yeah.
him, and then it's
Yeah.
just the top layer of skin
Yeah.
gone.
Maybe
This
he's
dude
just,
touches-
maybe he's
put it
getting
on his
stronger too.
face. Or maybe put it on his face too. His whole body just disintegrated. He in-game.
Any last thoughts?
Nah.
What?
That was good.
It was good, and so basically everybody has a 9 or above rating. Well, no, never mind. Forget
Except for
Ryan.
Yeah.
Forget Ryan.
8 and above rating.
AV critic over
So it
here.
was a really good anime. If y'all haven't, no, I'm pretty sure y'all have watched it. Hopefully, because we already
Yeah.
said a whole bunch of spoilers.
Well, I do that for scary movies. So not to watch the scary movies, I watch the analysis of it.
I do that too. We do that too.
And like
What?
the
I
kill
don't- we don't
counts.
do that.
Yeah, we do.
I
I'm
do
the
that.
guy that's like in front of the bookshelf.
Is it the kill count guy? Because someone's on.
Well, anyway, so thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts about this movie, and if we missed anything, if we said something wrong, let us know. Is that it?
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments below.
Y'all go check out Ryan's channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
Non-existent.
doesn't working.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all for watching again.
Yeah.
Follow us, subscribe,
Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Follow us.
comment, whatever,
Don't hate us.
all the stuff.
Look us up on Patreon.
Special gifts for the Patreon. The video 2 minutes early.
2 minutes.
Thank y'all for
thank
watching.
y'all.
We'll see you next time.
Thank y'all.